Cooking isn't performance art, it's about making yourself something to eat and becoming familiar with the rhythms of the kitchen. So the more you cook in an everyday kind of a way for yourself or for whoever you live with, the more confident you'll become. And in fact, some food is at its best when cooked small scale. Perfect for when you're home alone.
I've never understood it when people say they're too busy to eat lunch, or even that they forget. However busy I am, I always find time to eat. This is one of my favourite and most regular lunches. It's a salad with pancetta, which is like Italian bacon, and cheese. This is what pancetta looks like in the block. This wonderful slab of streaky bacon, really. But you can buy it in the supermarket already cubed if you can't get this from a butcher, although do ask, or a deli. Otherwise, buy, you know, the French lardons, those are easily available in supermarkets, in cubed and in packets. Yum, yum. I love the smell of bacon. Put a bit of oil in first, just to help all the bacony juices and the fat render down. And this is another very easy bit. You take a packet of designer leaves, open it, tumble them out, and that's the base of your salad. The bacon is looking so wonderful, and the smell, all the juices going into the oil, which will be the dressing. Okay, we're ready to roll on this. Turn the heat off. Just lift the bacon bits, the pancetta, onto the salad. Right, off the heat, teeny bit of olive oil, just to add to the bacony juices to make the dressing, and a bit of Dijon mustard or any mustard you want. And this does splutter, so watch it and stand well back. Such a lovely dressing. And some red wine vinegar. I nearly always prefer red wine vinegar, not, to white wine. Look at that, isn't it great? And this is the dressing. Lovely. Then just toss to disperse it a bit. Lovely. And then, this is cheddar, but you can use any hard cheese. Parmesan, provolone, Gruyere. Or you could just crumble in some blue cheese if you wanted. Just a few bits with the vegetable peeler. Such a nice lunch. It's really not harder than making a sandwich. It's surprising how little you have to do to zhuzh up the everyday ingredient and make it sort of special. For example, to go with my lamb chops here, I'm making a no-cook tahini sauce which really kind of zings it up. I've marinated the chops in here with some onion, just roughly sliced. You don't have to go in for any fine chopping. Olive oil, lemon zest and cumin, which has the most wonderful sort of earthy and sharp aroma, more than flavour actually, at the same time, and it just makes these really resonant and rich. Tahini is sesame paste, and it looks a bit like a kind of clay version of peanut butter. It's just 3 gloopy spoonfuls. A garlic clove. I'm grating this, but you can mince it or, put it through a crusher if you want. This is the easiest for washing up. Some lemon, and the lemon really undercuts the sesame paste because it can be very rich, like all nuts. And then stir. When you start stirring, when the lemon goes in at first, you will feel that it's all kind of slightly seizing up a bit and getting sort of less velvety rather than more, but that is just what happens. And then it goes back later into a lovely creamy texture. So no panic. Lovely, 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 lovely. And now just thin it with water. What you're looking for is the consistency of double cream. And then just to echo the flavours in the marinades, some more of this wonderful sort of grassy, earthy cumin. A bit of salt. That's the sauce done. I'm ready to eat. The reason why I turned the chops really quickly when I first put them on and then just left them on that one side was because I wanted the sides seared, but it doesn't really matter which side you're going to cook them on. They're very light and, as you saw, took hardly any time. Spinach I've got here, I cooked earlier and just left to drain on a sieve over a pan because I wanted all the excess juice to run away and because I love spinach at room temperature. I love spinach full stop, actually. A few toasted sesame seeds just to echo the flavours in the sauce. And now the sauce itself. Just dollop some on here, drizzle a bit on the spinach. Wonderful together.
I am a bit of a greedy pig, which I know is hardly news, but as a consequence of that, every now and then I have to just practice a little bit of dietary restraint. And what I do when I'm just cooking for myself particularly is focus on the food of Southeast Asia, because it's food that's naturally low in fat and high in flavour, and that makes your life very much easier. So here is my basic kit. Soy sauce in industrial quantities, fish sauce, sake, rice wine, and dashi, which is, look, isn't that a lovely box? Which is Japanese soup and stock base and essential for those restorative broths, you know, to make you feel sort of virtuous and light. I need all the help I can get. And plum seasoning, which is really a sort of plum vinegar. Really wonderful, sort of deep puce pink and so tangy and great, say, on broccoli or any veg. And I always, when I'm in this sort of mood, keep huge quantities of limes. Now, the only drawback with the limes, great though the juice is for this sort of cooking, is that they go wrinkled and dry after a while. So before that happens, I squeeze the juice and freeze it in bags either like this or more often in ice cube trays. And what I also keep in the deep freeze, this essential ingredient, lime leaves, which you buy frozen, keep frozen, and just snip and put into stocks, soups, anything you need. And what all these ingredients do is give you maximum flavour for minimum calorie intake, and let's be frank, what more does a girl need?
Cooking for one or two of you is a really good way of practicing, experimenting, and if you have never cooked shellfish before, you'll be amazed at how easy it is. You need about 500 grams of mussels per person, and I'm just going to leave mine there in the sink of cold water to soak for about 3 minutes while I get on with my flavour base.
So, Southeast Asian mussels.
Hot water. And then chilli finely chopped, and I've de-seeded it so that I have all the warmth but not too much fire. Beautiful little red jewels. You can use green chilli, I just love the look of the red with it. Garlic sliced finely across so you can really chew on the bits of garlic rather than just have it crushed. Likewise the ginger, which is in teeny shreds, and that gives its wonderful kind of heat and that restorative quality to the broth. And shallots. although you could use spring onions if you wanted. And then the lime leaves. I love lime leaves. Wonderful aromatic sour quality. Ah, beautiful. Now, juice of half a lime. There's something about limes, I don't know, that's so kind of refreshingly astringent, and I think more aromatic than lemons. Half should be plenty. Some fish sauce. This is wonderful just for adding a sort of Thai or Asian flavour to food. It's what makes it taste authentic, and you can get it at any supermarket now. Last of all, something I love, sake, which has a kind of resiny, smoky flavour. If you don't get some near you, use dry sherry. That will work too. And as it comes back to the boil, all the flavours will just flow into the water, and then later will merge with the water that the mussels themselves will give off when they're steaming. Heavenly broth, and not 1 ounce of fat in it. Right, so I'm just going to leave the flavours to infuse as long as it takes me to sort through the mussels. And really, you don't need to be at all alarmed about dealing with shellfish. It's so easy to work out which ones are okay and which ones not. If the mussel is closed, then it's fine. If it's open and stays open after you wrap it, then discard it. That's all you have to remember. And actually, you're not likely to find that many mussels that do stay open, simply because mussels that are sold now tend to be already cleaned and sorted through. Once they're all sorted, you can plunge them into the pan of hot broth to steam open. That smells wonderful. Shortly to be even more wonderful. Heat up, and then these just be plunged in. Oh, love that. Lid back on, heat up, and leave them to steam for a couple of minutes. And you know, you can see that it makes sense to cook something like this for 2 people, because I've used a pretty big pan as it is. If you were cooking for 8, you need a catering size pan. Great, well, after a couple of minutes you can check and see how they're doing, and these are doing very well. Little shake, just to make sure that the mussels which were at the bottom come to the top. Lid back on, and another couple of minutes should do it, which gives me plenty of time to get out my bowls. A bit of coriander, which is just the perfect herb for sprinkling on top. It's putting me in a good mood. And we're ready. Before the mussels are cooked, I said throw away any that stayed open. The rule for after they've been cooked is throw away any that stay closed. Don't panic about it, just throw them away. So raw, throw away open mussels, and cooked, throw away closed mussels. That's it. Yum, yum. Now the lovely, lovely aromatic broth. And coriander. And taste. Feel better already. We all seem to live on pasta these days. And while there's nothing wrong in pesto from a jar, my fresh deconstructed version takes minimal effort. I mean, like these pine nuts, which I'm just pushing around in a dry, hot pan so that they toast and get all sort of golden and aromatic. Now that they're nice golden and toasty, I'm just turning them out of the pan so that I can scatter them over later. But that's it, really, as far as cooking is concerned. I'm going to use some oil that's already been infused with garlic. I don't normally like fancy mess around with food, but actually infused oils are incredibly useful when you're all short of time. It just saves you one whole stage. Now, instead of grating the cheese as it would be in proper traditional pesto, I'm just using a vegetable slicer because I want to have some structure. My toasted pine nuts. I'm just going to tear some basil over. With a bit more cheese. And I mean, that's just it, and it's ready to serve and eat. Just well, like that in the pan. Let me show you some of my buried treasure. And when I say buried, I do mean buried because the state of my deep freeze is pretty appalling. Now, what I keep in here, the sort of foods I love eating when I'm by myself, like stew, which I just look frozen individually in bags, and then I eat it lying on the sofa out of a bowl with a spoon watching TV. My idea of heaven. And what else can I... Oh, corals. I love these. Snip them off the scallops when I'm cooking scallops and then save them for when I'm alone, just fried with butter and garlic and spread on toast. So good. And my real solitary treat, if I can find it, or mainly because no one else wants to eat it with me, pig's ear. Boil, snip it up, and then deep fry it. I love this, my real solitary indulgence. But don't worry, this really is for when I'm by myself and I'm not going to cook it now. When you've got to cook for the two of you, but just don't have the energy for any high-level culinary activity, the one-pan method kind of completely saves the day. And it's as straightforward as it sounds. 2 portions of chicken, new potatoes quartered, just arrange them around the bits of chicken in the dish. The idea is to cut everything into sizes so that all ingredients cook at the same time. 1 lovely red pepper, quartered, seeded, and then cut those quarters lengthwise in half again, so you've got lovely juicy strips. These go in the pan as well. One red onion, just cut it in half and then cut each half into 4, really so you've got segments. Again, I don't bother to peel. You can use any ingredients you want. These are just the ones that I use most regularly. If you're vegetarian, it'd be lovely, for example, if you just missed out the meat and put some feta in or goat's cheese right at the end. And for 2, I've got 8 cloves of garlic. I love garlic. They're in their skins. You know, I haven't bothered to peel them, and that means they almost steam inside their skins and go wonderfully sweet. Some oil over. Just olive oil, not extra virgin. And sprinkle thyme all over. It's such a wonderful herb with chicken and indeed with vegetables. And that is it. And all I need to do now is put this in a hot oven for about an hour. Serve a green salad if you want with, but that's a meal in its entirety, and you don't have to do anything while it's cooking, which is sometimes just what you need. I take it to the table just like this. I think it looks lovely in its roasting tin. Tastes good too. Can I have 250 grams of the raw prawns, please?
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Some food has to be eaten the minute it's cooked. Now, I know I act as if all food has to be eaten the minute it's cooked, but fried food cannot stand around. But if you cook fried food for lots of people, you end up feeling like the kitchen skivvy, getting hotter and hotter as you're doling out food for everyone to eat elsewhere. So I like to make these prawn cakes when I've got a friend coming round, and I have got a friend coming round now. So you can eat them as they should be eaten, hot and straight out of the pan. And the thing about eating these prawn cakes, just the 2 of you as well, is that it feels like a stolen treat, which it is a bit.
And for these prawn cakes, you need a clove of garlic, a couple of spring onions, just snipping them roughly before they're blitzed. Just like that. And then, and this is so easy, 250 grams of raw prawns. They'll have been frozen, but that's fine as long as they're thawed. I mean, the important thing is that they're raw. And 50 grams of flour. This is just to bind the cakes together when they fry. A splosh of sherry, and by splosh, it's a technical term, you understand. I mean a tablespoon or so. And blitz again. And that's your prawn cake batter made. Now, it's just a question of scraping this into a bowl and letting it wait for 10 minutes as well, clear up or something, just to let the starch and the flour swell a bit. This will all help the prawns adhere into the cakes when you fry them. Right, I'm going to put these in the fridge. See you later.
Do not try this if you're under 5 and at home.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
I love it when they change colour. How are we doing? Oh, there we are. And you know, I do think, I know this is just my excuse, but the fact that it's deep fat, it seals it, it isn't that greasy.
Oh, it's
so in
very-
fact, it's not
low fat,
fattening at
deep
all.
fat.
Yeah, low fat frying. Lovely.
That one looks beautiful.
Yum, yum,
That
yum.
one has got my name on it, I think, don't you? Oh, that's delicious.
Fried food is the nicest, isn't it?
Yeah, in a very non-fat kind of way.
No, I can feel this is making me lose weight as I eat it.
I like the fact that you don't have to leave the scene of the crime. You eat as you work.
I don't know why I'm drinking so much of this disgusting wine. I don't know where I got it from. I'm sorry it is.
It's all right, it could be worse, could come in a cardboard box, but we've got a man who's got